when we are not showing up as our true selves, we have to be on constant alert. We have to guard our hearts, and we have to keep a personality mask on at all times. And I can assure you, it's much more uncomfortable and restricting than the K95 mask.
I don't like to argue, so I say nothing and fume for days.
How do I set boundaries without sounding like a jerk?
I hate the idea that I might accidentally offend somebody, so sometimes I'd just rather say nothing at all.
Welcome to the Language Alchemy Podcast, and thank you for joining me today. This is your host, Alejandra Siroca, a transformative communication teacher and coach devoted to helping you have more peace and more harmony in all your relationships. This is the third episode on family communication related to the holiday season. In the first of these three episodes, episode 19, I taught you how to work with feelings of dread that you may be experiencing as you're going back home to spend the holidays with your family. In episode 20, I helped you shift your perspective about unhelpful family dynamics. And in this one, it's time to talk about who shows up when you spend time with your family. I still remember a session with a communication coaching client that happened many years ago. She was sharing how her kid, who was in third grade at the time, was showing up as a reserved, quiet, and sort of serious boy at home. And when she went to the first teacher-parent conference, she was shocked to hear from her son's teacher that her son was showing up in school as a fun, loving goofball who was leading other kids into what the teacher considered mischief. In our session, she discovered that she too was showing up differently at home and with other people in her life. And this discovery helped her not only have empathy for her own kid, but also for herself. It also opened the door for the deep work needed to understand how her communication was creating a split between the persons she showed up as in some contexts and the persons she showed up in others. Ultimately, she realized this showing up as one person here and as another person there was truly exhausting. Yes, it takes a lot of energy to be split like that. And wouldn't you agree that we've had enough to be exhausted about in these last almost 2 years of global pandemic? So in this episode, I want to help you take some extra weight off your shoulders and help you look at how you're showing up with your family as the year comes to an end and you spend the holidays with them. In the decade that I've been coaching clients and helping them communicate more authentically, I've been very grateful to help many people come out of the closet and show up with their families as the person they truly are. And every time when my client learned to show up authentically and communicate to their family in a way that truly reflected their growth, their maturity, and their relational values, their family supported and even embraced them. Authenticity is a marvelous gift that inspires everyone around us. If you want to give the gift of authenticity to your family, then I'd love to share with you this transformative communication tool that can help you show up with your family as the person you truly are. This is a tool called the Johari Window. Its name comes from the first syllables of the two American psychologists' first names who developed this model. Their names are Joseph Luft and Harry Ingham. They created the Johari Window about 65 years ago, and I don't know why it's not more widely known, because the Johari Window is such a helpful model for communication and self-reflection. I learned about this model in grad school when I was getting my master's in transformative leadership, and I can assure you that the Johari Window transformed the way I showed up with my family. So if you will, in your mind's eye, Draw a picture of a window with the typical 4 quadrants or window panes. Each window pane has a word written on it. The upper left quadrant has the word open on it. The upper right window pane has the words blind spot. The left lower quadrant has the word hidden on it. And on the lower right pane, there's the word mystery. So these 4 words again are open, blind spot, hidden, and mystery. These quadrants represent how much of you know, how much of it you're willing to reveal to others, and how much others know of you that you may not even know about you. What's so wonderful about these quadrants or window panes is that they're not forever fixed. They are in flux. They can increase or decrease in size to represent that we, human beings, for as long as we are alive, we have the ability to learn and shift and grow and change. So as you are in a constant process of transformation, the Johari window panes are too. They can get bigger or smaller, depending on how you show up and how aware you are of who's showing up in a given relationship. Let me explain. The open window pane, the one on the top left, is about how much we reveal of ourselves to others, how much others know that this is what we're revealing to them. For example, if you've been listening to this podcast for some time, you know that I was born and raised in Argentina. My whole biological family still lives there. Now, when you think of Argentina, you probably think of 3 things: tango, soccer, and beef. Like most Argentine families, my family eats beef several times a week. When I started to study yoga philosophy, I became a vegetarian, and I was faced with an internal conundrum. Do I tell my family next time I go to Argentina that I no longer eat beef or any other meats? If at that time I had known about the Johari window, I could have asked myself, do I reveal that about me and expand that open window pane between us? But I was in my 20s then, and at that time, I had little to no clue about who was showing up with my family when I came to visit them. So during my first or second visit to Argentina after I became a vegetarian, I didn't say anything, and I tried to eat as little beef or other meats as possible. But my dad showed his love through his cooking. And when I would come home, he would make the favorite beef dishes of my younger years. So you could say that during those 2 visits, I didn't really show up openly with my family until I learned to communicate more in alignment with my values. It was only then that I was able to tell my parents about my not eating meat anymore. And because I now knew how to talk about it, my dad started making other dishes for me. He could still show his love in his own way. And my window pane with him and with my mom expanded. Now, what about the window that has the word hidden on it? The one on the top right. Usually, as we individuate from our families, that is to say, as we in our development start to become our own individuals with our own taste, style, views, and beliefs, we tend to not reveal these things with our family right away, especially if our taste, style, views, and beliefs are very different from theirs. On that hidden window pane, we keep things to ourselves and we hide it from the other. Most of the time, we keep things hidden there because we are afraid of how our families are going to react. Will they still love us? Will they withdraw their connection, affection, respect from us? Is it safe to reveal that, for example, we have liberal political views when our parents may hold more conservative ones? How will it be if we reveal we are dating someone from a different religion, culture, race, gender, or background than our parents expect? Can we be ourselves and still belong? These are the questions whose answers we hold inside that hidden window pane. And the more we keep them in there, the less real or authentic we will be with our families. And if that window pane expands so much that the open window pane becomes small, that's when we feel anxiety and dread when we come home to spend something as potentially intimate as the end of the year holidays. The bigger that hidden window is, the more energy it will take to be with our families. Because when we are not showing up as our true selves, we have to be on constant alert. We have to guard our hearts, and we have to keep a personality mask on at all times. And I can assure you, it's much more uncomfortable and restricting than the K95 mask. If you want to show up as the person you are, you need to learn to communicate what you keep hidden with confidence, with compassion, and in a way that your family can hear and understand. And what about the blind spot window quadrant? Well, as you may already be guessing, this is the one in which your family has knowledge about you that you don't. And when the blind spot window pane is bigger than the open or hidden panes, then you miss the opportunity to learn about you. In most cases, your family has been with you since the beginning. They've seen the changes and transformations that you've gone through. But if you communicate with them in a way that doesn't allow space for reflections or feedback, then your family will feel scared or reluctant to reveal this knowledge of yourself to you because of how you may react. For example, I have a client who's very generous, soft, and open with her friends, but she's very rigid, critical, and harsh with her family. As you may imagine, her family is not very keen on the idea of offering feedback to her because when they see her, they want to be able to enjoy their time together. And so they withdraw a lot of information. They keep it hidden from her, which in turn doesn't allow her to see that her family has great love and patience for her. So in this case, when she shows up with her family, she shows up as the part of herself that is judgmental and harsh, and not as the whole person she is, which includes softness, openness, and vulnerability. Finally, there's the lower right quadrant, the window pane that has the word mystery on it. This represents all the things about you that are unknown to yourself as well as to others. It's the part of you that hasn't been explored yet. As Frederick A. Miller, co-author of 4 books on inclusion and transformation, writes, in that window area is the you that is, and I quote, unfolding each moment. This quadrant is boundless. And the more you're willing to explore about yourself, the greater your ability will be to show up with your family authentically, confidently, as the alive human being who's constantly evolving. The size of this quadrant depends on your awareness of your inner dialogue, your internal communication. So, who is the one showing up in your family when you go visit? Is it the self with lots of blind spots? Are you showing up as the open self, the hidden one, the mysterious self? My wish for you during this holiday season is that you show up with your family as your whole authentic self and not as parts of you. And what would that mean using the Johari window as a model? Well, I am so glad you asked. It means that you expand your open quadrant as much as possible. How? By communicating with clarity, confidence, and compassion when you reveal about yourself to your family. It also means that you are willing to learn more about your blind spots. How? By not taking it personally, so that your family knows that it's safe to share about yourself with you. It also means that you learn to reveal what's in your hidden quadrant in a way that creates closeness, respect, and togetherness with your family. And finally, it means that you set the intention for yourself to explore and discover the treasures of your mystery window pane. If you'd like to see some examples of what the Johari window can look like, follow me on Instagram. All you need to do is search for language alchemy as one word and you'll find me there. I would love to hear from you about how this model of the Johari window resonates with you. To recap, in this episode, I talked about a model for communication and self-exploration called the Johari window. I gave you some examples of its 4 window panes, and I suggested how you can use this model to have a greater sense of connection and togetherness with your family. Thank you so much for listening, and a special thanks to my client Nathan for the work he did to learn to reveal his hidden quadrant of the window with his entire family. As you are gathering with family during this holiday season, may you show up as the wonderful whole being that you are. Until next week, and as we say in Argentina, ciao ciao! Original music by Gary Lapoe. You can find all links in the show notes at languagealchemy.com.